Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. When the economy gets unpredictable and budgets tighten, like we're seeing right now with the new tariffs on imported autos and parts and everything, your messaging matters more than ever. Joining us now to share his insights on branding and marketing during uncertain times is Bill Harper, CEO and Chief Creative Officer of BrandBossHQ. Thanks very much, Bill, for joining us on the show once again. Very much appreciate it. There is some high level of uncertainty out there, as you know, among business owners, and they're wondering, how do you market during these times, right? What should be the message to the consumer? Because things might cost a lot more.
You know, actually, I think that there are two perspectives that we can take here, and it's important to talk to both of them. On the one hand, like in any other economically distressed time, this is the time for brands that are growth-minded, that want to make a leap forward, to really do it. And the reason is because when things get tight, people pull back. And so just like investing, if you're able to lean in when everybody else is leaning out, you're going to be able to buy more media, be more present, and have greater visibility with your target audience, because so many of your competitors are going to play it safe and they're going to pull back. And that gives you an unfair competitive advantage to steal market share during this time. If, however, you're staying in the market and you're trying to figure out what to do, the biggest thing that you can do is double down on what your value is. Don't, or I should say do, resist the siren's call of trying to give away more for less to protect the sale, and instead calmly reassert and reestablish the bunker head of what your value is. What problem are you solving? What way will your target audience's circumstance be bettered by their having engaged with you or bought from you or aligned with you? The more that you can reinforce that when everybody else is going to drop to pricing, promotions, et cetera, to try and protect their weekly numbers or monthly numbers, the more you're actually going to stand out as having a bigger, greater value with your target set.
Sure. Should salespeople and business owners today bring up the tariff situation, even if the prospect coming into the business doesn't mention it? Should it be something that is discussed?
No, I think businesses, and this is one of those perception is reality scenarios where the more calm and collected that you are about it, the more calm and collected your target audience is likely to be. If they come in and you're like, oh my gosh, the tariffs, and we got to do, and we got to whatever, then you're going to instill a bunch of fear and concern in them. If instead you let them bring it up, if they're interested in it, or in the event that you have a limitation, let's say that you're getting something from China and the cost is different, I would calmly explain to them that, listen, we're trying to figure out right now, as so many businesses are, where that's going to land. We will keep open communication with you to make sure that you know what we know as we know it, and just proceed in as professional and calm a manner as possible. I think what you're going to see is a bunch of people sort of do the deer in headlights, where they're going to just pause and not move and hope that nothing, is seen and everything goes back to status quo. But the brands that are really going to step forward are the ones that are going to say, listen, we know who we are. We know what our value is. We know what we do for our target audience. And we're going to continue to do that. This is a bump in the road. We'll manage the bump together to the best of our ability, and we'll continue to move forward.
Sure. If in the event that a product is got a tariff on it, and let's say it's 15 or 20%, and you've got a 30% profit margin in a particular product, would it be a good idea to maybe reassess your pricing to say, hey, maybe we could absorb this rather than passing it on to the consumer?
Well, this is one of those moments where I'll take Elvis's approach of, I'm an entertainer. My political point of view doesn't matter. The simple truth of the matter is that I couldn't give an overarching generalized answer to that. There are too many factors at play. What relationship do you have with your target audience? How frequently do they buy from you? What impact is there if you hold? There's a movie from a number of years ago where Schooner Tuna went out and said, this is a difficult economic time and we're going to take half the hit and you're going to take half the hit and our prices will return to normal after this economic crisis. But during the economic crisis, we're going to meet you in the middle on that because, we want to protect you. If your business can afford to do something like that, where you can make a PR play on it, that will certainly be appreciated and remembered by your consuming audience. So there is no one stock answer for this kind of a situation. There are simply too many variables at play. But again, I think anything that you can do to work with your buyer as opposed to ride roughshod over them is going to be a defining factor at this moment in time.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes you think as though if a consumer shops you and there is an increase and they don't purchase, that right away you're thinking as a business owner, oh, they're not buying because of that increase from the tariff. What maybe I should, the natural thing is maybe I should cut my prices and try to close the deal rather than them going and losing that customer to another product if they don't mention anything. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think the bigger thing is everyone's in it together. I mean, very few of the competitors that you have to worry about are excluded from the impact of the tariffs. Most industries, not businesses, have similar operating patterns. I would be more worried at this moment in time on the impact of transparency that China just unleashed on the world by saying, hey, if you're going to strike us with tariffs, by the way, here's how much it costs to actually make your Louis Vuitton bag. I think, that level of transparency has done more to potentially disrupt the relationship with consumers and their elite brands than anything else that could have been done by simply a tariff shipping manufacturing problem that could have happened. Sure. Now, of course, it's easy to say that from the side. We'll wait and see how all of that plays out. But I also think that for the people who are really into their brands, especially the high-end ones, this is going to be a moment of reinforcement for businesses. A Ferrari is a Ferrari, and it isn't a Ford. No offense to Ford. And, even if it costs only twice as much to build the Ferrari and they charge 4 times as much, not everybody gets to have a Ferrari, right? Yeah. That's the point. And for brands that want to take a prestige position, they purposely inflate the price so as to be scarce in the marketplace. Right. And some consumers are going to see that and say, I don't care. I don't care that it costs $1,500 to make and it costs me $15,000 to buy. If the status is important to me and I want to have that, I might chafe a little bit about the fact that I didn't realize that it was that much. But I think at the end of the day, there is aspiration for aspiration's sake, and the aspirational brand can only go as far as the market will allow it. So consumer buying behavior is ultimately going to dictate what those brands can charge. If nobody buys a Louis Vuitton bag all of a sudden, guess what's going to happen to the prices of Louis Vuitton bags?
They'll come down.
The point is that the economics of the scenario will find their equilibrium as they always do. And if the brands continue to do well with their buying audience, they're going to go right back to raising prices again because their product is simply able to fetch that in the marketplace. So we're in a correction phase here. I think it's going to be interesting to watch how long does it last and what are the long-term impacts on it.
Right. And I think everybody's concern too is that if that is the new price of that product, rest assured nobody's going to come in after you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, and pay less than you. In other words, everybody is going to be subjected to this new price increase, right?
We'll have to see how that works. Again, I think that there are so many factors at play. But yeah, in general, once something has been established, to disrupt that is going to be, there's a lot involved in it. Like those choices aren't made easily. Yeah.
And we'll probably, as we already have seen in certain industries, an increase in sales because people are coming into showrooms and they're coming into businesses saying, well, I want to beat the tariff increase right off the bat. Let me get ahead of this situation, right?
Yeah, I think for the people who have the ability to make those decisions, yes. And that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, that there's actually an advantage here.
Yeah.
For the businesses that are cash heavy, the ones that have the flexibility of doing it, or the consumers that are, this is an opportune time because the rest of the buying group is likely to back off out of a duck and cover state. And when that happens, it's going to put pressure on those businesses to hit certain numbers, which will make deals open up that weren't available before. So there, again, this is an economics question, and there's an equilibrium that ultimately is going to find itself here. Businesses that are paying attention to that, I think, can do some strategic things to try to take advantage of it, right? If there's a group of people that wants to get ahead of something, that's a sales opportunity. If there's a group of people that would have been purchasing but need some relief in some way, there may be a way to extend payment. There may be a way to help finance. There may be a way to do something else that would help to course correct for that out of balance equilibrium. So I think businesses have a lot of opportunity here. They can't freeze and hope it's all going to take care of itself. They're going to have to stay proactive to make this work. Right.
And in terms of building a brand during these times for businesses that have just launched, what does that look like? Is it going to add just an extra little bit of a difficult situation for companies that are now just opening up?
I actually see it the other way around. I see this as a major opportunity because so many other people are going to pull back that media costs are going to drop, visibility is going to drop. We saw the exact same thing happen in COVID where we leaned our clients in when everybody else leaned back. And I shared with them, you're never going to get this kind of visibility on stage or ability to flex on media purchase because everybody else has run for cover. And in this moment, you have way more leverage and visibility than you would have had. So your dollar suddenly is worth $2 in that sense. And for the businesses that lean in on that, they're going to have an advantage when we come out of it on the other end.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good point. Very good point. Bill Harper, CEO and Chief Creative Officer at BrandBossHQ. Thank you so much for stopping by. We very much appreciate it. I know our viewers will get a lot out of your consultation today. So thanks so much.
Always good to see you, Jim. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.